The Galata Tower is situated in the Galata neighborhood. The area was once home to the city of Galata, a colony that belonged to the Republic of Genoa between the 13th and 15th centuries. It is situated in the center of Istanbul, very close to the Bosphorus, where it meets the Golden Horn. The bridge in the Galata neighborhood that crosses the Golden Horn is called Galata Bridge. The bridge split across two levels with cars and trams on the upper part and numerous restaurants on the lower part. The topography of Galata consists of plain-like strip along the coast of the Golden Horn, with a relatively steep incline towards Galata Tower. The Galata Tower is on a hilltop. Along with Galata Tower, there are two churches, the Arab Mosque and Saint Benoit from this period also survive. While the substructures of the fort of Galata now function as a mosque, while most of its original walls were demolished in the second half of the 19th century. Some sections have survived, including a city gate and a few towers. The origin of the Galata Tower goes back to the 5th century CE, when Byzantines built a wooden tower named Great Tower in order to control the city of Constantinople and the Golden Horn. Due to the fires, earthquakes, and the sack of Constantinople by the Fourth Crusaders in 1204, the tower was completely destroyed. When the Genoans captured Galata in the 1300s, they saw that most of the walls and the first tower was destroyed by the Byzantines. Ultimately, they repaired all the walls. They also rebuilt the Galata Tower, located at the top of the walls, and laid the foundation of today's tower. It once held the title of Istanbul's tallest structure until 1749, when the Beyazıt Tower was constructed. Throughout its history, the Galata Tower has served as a jail, observatory, and watchtower during the Ottoman era. After the conquest of Istanbul, the Galata Tower was left to the Ottomans by giving the key to Fatih Sultan Mehmet on the morning of 29th May 1453. The Genoese presented the keys of the Galata colony to Fatih Sultan Mehmet, and the handover of Galata was completed on Friday, June the 1st. Following a 1960 restoration, the tower was open to the public. The easiest way is that you can come to the Taksim Square, which is one of Istanbul's famous squares, and then walk from Istiklal Street to the end, which is Karakoy, and you can reach Galata Tower. The Galata Tower is one of the oldest towers globally. It has a height of 69.90 meters from the ground to the tip of its roof. There are two elevators in the ninth floor Galata Tower. While climbing to the top of the tower, the first 7 floors can be reached by elevator, and then there are next 2 floors that has to be continued through the stairs. You can use the stairs completely while going down from the tower. Galata Tower continued to be renovated and upgraded every year by the Turks after the Ottoman Empire conquered Istanbul in the 15th century. Therefore, the part up to the third floor of the building has Genoese architecture, while the other floors that rise show an Ottoman character. During the excavation carried out in 1965 to strengthen the foundation of the tower, a tunnel passing through the center of the sphere at a depth of 4 meters was encountered. It is thought that this tunnel, 70 centimeters wide and 140 centimeters high, made of stone, went down to the sea as a secret escape route during the Genoese period. After descending about 30 meters in the tunnel, deformations and rockfall were found. During the same excavation, human skeletal remains, as well as four skulls, ancient coins, and an inscription were also found. Authorities came to the conclusion that the skeletons belonged to the convicts who tried to dig a secret path from the tower, which was used as a dungeon in the time of Suleiman the Magnificent in 1494 to 1566, and died by being buried under the ground. The moment you step outside the elevator at the seventh floor, you can read an urban legend that tells the story of Hazarfin Ahmed. He was an early aviator in 1348. He allegedly flew with his handmade artificial wings from the Galata Tower over the Bosphorus all the way to Uskudar on the Asian side, a 3.3-kilometer flight. The then ruling Sultan Murad IV was so impressed by and at the same time scared of his capabilities that he sent him to Algeria on exile. Although current scientific findings prove that it was and still is virtually impossible to perform such an act. The best time to visit is before the sunset, so you can see the view in the daylight also, and the sunset, and even after the sunset when all the lights are on, it looks beautiful. गलाटा टावर जब आप जाएं, पहले आप टैक्सिम स्क्वायर जाएं और वहाँ से बिल्कुल सीधा इस्तक्लाल स्ट्रीट जहाँ एंड होती है उस इलाके को कराकोय कहते हैं, और वहीं पे गलाटा टावर बना हुआ है। तो वहाँ पे आप गलाटा टावर पे जाइए। आपको क्यू मिलेगी कुछ औकात में, ख़ास तौर पर जब पीक सीज़न होता है तो लंबी लाइनें होती हैं, और सनसेट से पहले का टाइम भी काफ़ी लंबी लाइनें होती हैं। लेकिन जो खूबसूरत सनसेट वहाँ से आपको बॉस्फोरस का नज़र आता है, वो इतना खूबसूरत है कि वो हमेशा आपको याद रहता है। ऊपर जो सबसे टावर के प्लेटफॉर्म बना हुआ है, वहाँ पूरा आप उसके गोल इर्द गिर्द जाते हैं, देखते हैं, और पूरे इस्तंबुल का नज़ारा कर सकते हैं। बॉस्फोरस खूबसूरत लगता है, सी ऑफ मारमरा आपको नज़र आती है, और हसीन मंज़र होता है आँखों के लिए। बहुत अच्छी फ़ोटोग्राफ़ी आप कर सकते हैं, और कोशिश कीजिए कि आप सूरज के ढलने के बाद भी रुकिए, क्योंकि जब रोशनियाँ गुल होती हैं और उस वक्त एक और ही मंज़र लगता है। सो सुबह के टाइम, दोपहर के टाइम, शाम के वक्त, रात के वक्त, हर मंज़र जो है वो एक हसीन मंज़र है। The Galata neighborhood is today one of the Istanbul's most cosmopolitan area. You will find scores of young people, they get together, there's art, there's music, there are nice restaurants, and especially on the weekends it gets extremely busy. The views from the top of Galata Tower are without a doubt some of the best in Istanbul. From the tower's viewpoint, you can enjoy a 360-degree panorama with views of the Bosphorus, the Golden Horn, the Sea of Marmara, the historic peninsula, and the neighborhood of Beyoğlu itself. The outside observation area is very narrow. In some places, only one person could fit through. So you have to be really careful when you're passing by, and hold on to the railings. Don't lean onto the railing. It's fascinating to think about all the things the tower must have been witness to in its 600 years of existence. The views are absolutely stunning. You can easily point out places like Topkapi Palace, Hagia Sophia, the Blue Mosque, and Suleymaniye Mosque from the top. You can see the mix of old and new from up there, modern skyscrapers in the distance, and old, colorful houses and buildings all around the city. The museum is home to artifacts that exhibit the history of the city from prehistoric times to now. The Galata Tower Museum reopened in 2020 on the anniversary of the liberation of Istanbul. Nowadays, its time as a watchtower and a prison are behind it, and it is instead a record of more than a millennium of Istanbul's history, which includes the rise and fall of the Romans, the Byzantines, and the Ottomans. One of the oldest towers and monumental structures in the world. Imagine, look at the history. Built in 528 by the Roman Emperor Justinian, that was the original tower, and then destroyed in 1024 during the Fourth Crusade. Used for many different purposes, sometimes dungeon, weapon storage, observatory, fire watchtower, damaged many times by earthquakes and fires, repaired many times, and eventually converted into a museum. शाम और रात को मिल जाने के बाद व्यू और भी खूबसूरत हो गया था। ऊपर से इस्तिकलाल स्ट्रीट बहुत ही अच्छी लग रही थी। The 175-year-old Galata Bridge is popular with not only people of Istanbul but also artists, writers, and poets as it represents a bridge between the old and the new. It bridges the area of Eminönü, Spice Bazaar, the new mosque to the other side of Karakoy area, not far from the Karakoy ferry station. Also, don't forget to check out the newly built Galata port with a cruise terminal covering up to 29,000 square meters of land and spreads along 1.2 kilometers of shore. On your way out, you have to go through a narrow staircase and you can explore one floor at a time. You will find lots of artifacts, lots of interesting things to see on your way back down through the stairs.